Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday morning. I'm out in the shop and I don't have a lot to do today, just a couple of simple things. I've got the chair back up on the table saw. We're going to go ahead and get the clamps off of it. I've got the seat cushion right over here. We'll get that put on. We're going to do a set test just to see if it holds up. And if it does, then I'm going to flip it upside down and take a look. I told you there was a nail sticking out of the bottom of one of those, one of the legs. I don't know if I have any of those. They sell these little rubber pieces that have like a nail in them, and you can nail them on, hammer them onto the bottom of the chair to keep that from happening. I don't know that I have any of those. I may have to go buy some, but we're just going to kind of inspect that and see what we think. So let's get the clamps off and see what it looks like. I think I'm going to have to buy myself a brass wheel for my drill. The reason why is I took that clamp off and I went to hang it up and I had a little trouble releasing the bottom piece of the clamp. I think I've gotten glue. There's some little notches on this rod, top and bottom, and that's what allows us to really lock into place and hold tightly while you're clamping. And I could not move this. I finally got it to move down, but then when I moved it back up, it would only go to maybe about here. So there's some kind of gunk in these little notches. So I think if I buy a brass wheel for my drill, I can come down and just run it across both sides of that. Probably clean it up, won't damage the notches, and my clamp will be good as new. Looks pretty good. You can still kind of see the crack there, just barely. I don't think you're going to see it unless you're looking for it. Only issue I noticed was I had some glue squeeze out on this side that I couldn't wipe off. Notice how that chair is wobbly. That's why I know one of those feet is missing. And a little glue squeeze out there. I'm hoping maybe some fine steel wool. I can maybe rub that and get it off of there. The backside turned out pretty good, and inside, if you look for it, you can still see the crack. And there's the top part of the crack right up there. Let me go ahead and get the seat put back on this, and we'll give it the old set test. I went ahead and grabbed that 4/0 steel wool, and I'm just going to see how it works. I'll start down here at the bottom, because that way if it takes a little bit of the paint off or something, I won't see it up top. But I figured I better do this before I put the seat back on. Seems to be helping. Nice. It actually shined it up a little bit. There must be years of age and whatever on this chair. Who knows? It's not doing a bad job. Doing a pretty good job, actually. Yeah, well, I lightened it up a little bit there. I don't think that'll show. You'll be less likely to see that than you would to see the glue. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a light rub. It actually worked out pretty nice. I'm actually real happy with that. It did kind of shine it up. I mean, this chair, I bet it's got like a varnish or something on it, and it's probably just, over time, it's just kind of dulled. I'll bet if I were to rub the entire chair out, it would look pretty nice, but it's just a chair I use on my desk. I'm not going to go to that much trouble. As long as it sits nice, I'm good with it. Oh, a little update. My daughter did not want to change the look of the chair. She wants more of a standard style desk chair with, the adjustable arms and all that, lumbar support, all that type of extra stuff that comes with some of these office chairs. So this one's going to stay with me for the time being, and I'm happy with how it looks because really I just need function in my office. I'm not really into the form thing. All right, let me go ahead and get the seat put back on. I want to go ahead and put the seat on, but I want to show you something right there. See that? There's no foot on here, but there's a little head of a nail right there on the bottom foot of the leg that broke. Let me see if I can lift this up. I guess I pulled the nail out. Well, that was smart. I guess I pulled the nail out when it caught because it doesn't have a nail, and the other side does. So it looks like whoever had this chair prior to me wore the little feet off of it and just drove the nail heads in. The one on the bottom down there came loose, and I guess I need to check the rug in the shop because it's probably laying in the office because it's probably laying somewhere on my floor. But let me go ahead now and we'll reattach this seat. All right. I'm just going to snug it because I really need to hit 2 holes. You know, I want to go back in the same hole so that the seat's not cocked off at an angle or something. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that one started, and then we can align the other one. And once we do, oh, there's a line on there. Good, look at that. I see that someone has drawn a pencil line on here. This chair has obviously been refurbished at some point. Maybe not completely refurbished, but refurbished to a certain extent, because this is not the original seat cover. And these screws that are in it, normally in older furniture, like back here on the back, you got a couple of Phillips screws, but the rest of the screws all have a square head. So I don't know how far back they used a square head screw, but I think somebody along the lines there has done a little cleanup to this chair. There we go, perfect. And that's not a big deal. I'm not into the authenticity of the chair. I'm more into the functionality. Okay, let me get this off the table saw. We'll get it on the floor and we'll do the old set test. It's a little squeaky. It was always a little squeaky, but I don't see any flex in the leg. This is the one that was broke. Looks pretty good. I think I'm back in business. All I need now is to come up with some feet for the bottom of this chair. And since I've dug around in the shop, I don't have any of that style foot for a chair. I'm debating on whether I just want to put like a rubber pad on the bottom. I don't think it'll stick. I think it'll come off. I think what I'm going to have to do is pull those nails out and then go to the hardware store and pick up some of those little rubber feet and then nail them back on. So I think that's what I'll do. That's all you'll see of this chair in the video. It's going to stay as it is. It's going right back to my office. Now what I want to do is I'm going to head in, eat a little breakfast, and then I'm going to come out and we're going to assemble our second crate. I've also come up with an idea that I want to work on. I may start on today for how I can make the 2 crates that I have, which are identical in size, length, dimensions, everything, but how I can make them stackable. So we'll experiment with that and see how that goes. I'll be back shortly to show you what I come up with. I finished my second crate. Super happy with it. Looks as good as the first one. I can't wait to try it out. I'm going to take it upstairs right now. And I'm going to put a couple records in. I'm not going to load this one up fully because I'm going to bring this one back down to the shop when I work on the piece that I want to use to stack this one with the other one. So I'll be working on that a little bit today. But let me go upstairs and see what this one looks like. I'll probably shoot a photo or 2 and stick it over on Instagram. I just got back to the shop. I was loading albums into this crate, took a couple of photos, and then removed the albums and promptly brought the crate back down to the shop. Now, I want you to take a look at the photo I took of this crate next to the other one. There's a tiny little difference. I want you guys to see if you notice what that difference is. Here's the photo. I know you can see it right off. This one is taller than the other one by exactly 1 inch. And I got to thinking, how in the heck could that have happened? So I went back to my notes and I got to looking, and where the side rails are supposed to be 9 inches, I actually cut the side rails to 10 inches in length. And I wrote in the notebook 10 inches. So I left it as 10 inches. This one works great. I really like it. I'm going to leave it as 10 inches for the final notes and for the final video. The difference that I had to do, and I remembered there was a problem, and I was like, how could I have done this when I cut the panels? I have a panel over here that I cut, actually 2 of them, and they're too short because they're only 9 inches tall. I was like, how in the world did I mess that up? I know I followed my plans. So then I adjusted that number to be 10 inches, or actually not 10 inches, but minus 3/4 of an inch or whatever I took off there. I don't remember now. So I adjusted those to be a little taller. So since I've adjusted the notes, Nosen's trying to figure it out. They work the way they are. It's been proven the second time. You're just going to build one that's 10 inches deep instead of 9, or 10 inches tall instead of 9. Not a big deal. What I want to work on now is some way to make these things stackable. I have an idea. It's not on paper. It's not anything official. Once again, I'm just going to try to figure this out as I go and see what I can come up with. And I'll keep you guys posted, and I'll take you along for the ride. Do not get hung up on how this looks. I am prototyping, so I'm using only scrap wood right now. I'm going to have to go out and buy a couple of decent boards to actually build this when I'm done. But here's my thinking. I've got a crate that'll sit on the floor. I want another crate that'll sit on the top that my elbow is bent at 90 degrees. I can flip through the records and sort them. I'll be able to lift the top crate off, set it beside this one, lift this piece off, set it on top of the top crate, put that crate on top, and I can very easily switch so I'm not bending down or kneeling over. I can move these crates, and always keep one on top for sorting. So here's what I thought. I want to just be able to set this easily on top of the crate. So notice that. What I've done is, these are 2-inch slats. I'm going to mirror that slat with a 4-inch one. It'll attach to the frame and just basically set over top of my box, my slats. That way my albums are still in the middle. You could technically sort through here if you wanted to squat down and do that. Up at the top, there'll be a framework here that the top crate will set on. And I've got to put a full piece across the back, and that'll keep the 2 crates, it'll keep them at a perfect height and give them a nice base to set on. Now, what I'll do down the side is there'll be 2-inch slats running all down the side to sort of frame this up. This is how thick the studs will be. These are actually the ones that are going to be here. These are decent pieces of wood, but there'll be 2-inch braces on the front and the back, and the slats will go between them just like this, and they'll be painted just like this. I probably will put them across the back too to really kind of solidify this. What I'm thinking is, in the front, my records stick up about 3 inches above this, so you come up about 4 inches, okay? I can actually put a shelf and have enough room to have a shelf to lean records, set records on end that can just stay in the middle, right? Stuff that you don't listen to that often. I think this is going to work. And then, of course, I will probably go ahead and somehow brace this across the front. I want this to be a solid square. So essentially, my thought is, my crate is on the ground. I have some records in the middle and a crate on the top. If I want to sort through the bottom crate, I lift the top crate off, put it on the ground. I lift this off, put it on the top crate, take this crate, set it on top of the framework, and I can now sort through the records on the top. In the middle could be anything. It could be albums leaning sideways. It could be 45s. It could be cassette tapes. Anything you don't need. So eventually I'll put some type of a shelf in the middle of there. But that's kind of where I'm at on my prototype. I'm learning. I'm measuring. I'm making mistakes. I'm correcting those mistakes. But at some point, when I finally settle on my idea, I'll head up to the big box store and I'll buy however many of these, 2, 3 more of these cedar boards to finish this. But I think this might work. The middle section obviously will stick out, right, a little bit, but it won't be that awkward to where I think it'll be a problem, and it'll fit nicely in a corner beside the stereo, or there's all kinds of options with this. But I like the fact that I can swap albums to the top, because I hate kneeling down or sitting on the floor. I like to stand and sort. So I'm pretty excited. I think I'm going to take a little break. Here's what's going on. Tonight we're supposed to record You Made That, our podcast. I don't know that this will come out before that podcast, so you may already see a little blurb, because I will put something together and send it out on this channel as well as my main channel. But Mike DeLauter cannot join us tonight, so we're going to try something different. We're going to try to do a live podcast, okay? And essentially what that is we will load up the software and we will shoot the address out. Anyone who wants can join. Hopefully there's a bunch of people that join. We will have the audience muted, so you won't be able just to pop in and ask questions that way, but you can type questions in the chat. We will be monitoring the chat as we have the podcast, talk about the usual things we talk about. And if you guys want to ask legitimate questions in the chat, and I say legitimate because sometimes, you get people who join these things and they want to be a little childish, right? The majority of people aren't, but you do have a few people. But anybody that asks a legitimate question, we will attempt to answer some of those questions as we go. Now, we won't be able to do them all because the podcast would be hours long. We'd like to keep it at an hour. So I hope this works out. I'm waiting on Rebecca to get back in touch with me, and we are going to do a quick test and see if we can make this work. If we can make it work, you guys, you'll probably already know about it before this comes out, but I think it's going to be kind of fun, and we'll record the podcast, and then we got to figure out where we're going to post it. Okay, we will actually post it somewhere, but really it's just going to be the podcast, but it's going to be the podcast live. So I'm kind of excited about that. And I think Rebecca's really excited about it too. I really hope we can figure it out. I'm getting ready right now. I'm going to take a little break from this, and I'm going to head in the house and get my computer set up and start preparing to work on the test. And yeah, keep your fingers crossed because I think this could be a whole lot of fun. I'm really excited about it. All right. That's probably about it for me. I don't know if there'll be anything else. If there is, I'll add it to this video. If not, thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, keep your eyes open because this is a work in progress. We're going to get there. We're going to figure it out. I'm going to buy more stuff and we're going to make this work. I've actually got to take this in the house or bring the other crate out and put it on top just to make sure I got my height right. I think it was 44 inches is what I was looking for at the tops of the record album. So, all right, hang tight and hope to see you again real soon. Bye-bye.